Most horror stories are born in the imagination. Ghost tales whispered around a fire, or urban legends shared to spook a friend. But some of the most terrifying stories aren't fiction, they're real. Imagine moving into a beautiful old home, a fresh start for your family. Everything seems perfect. Until it isn't. What would you do if you discovered someone had been living inside your home, hidden in your walls, crawling through your attic, watching you while you sleep? Tonight, we're telling the true and deeply disturbing story of the Campbell family and the man who lived inside their walls. This isn't a ghost story. It's worse. In the spring of 2007, Jonathan and Lisa Campbell moved into what they thought was their dream home. A classic, 3-story colonial-style house tucked in a quiet neighborhood in Rockland County, New York. They had one child, Madison, just 9 years old, and a golden retriever named Baxter. The house had been sitting on the market for a while, and they got it for a good price. Too good, in fact. Lisa asked the realtor if anything was wrong with the property. The agent just smiled and said, "People don't like older houses anymore. Creaks and drafts scare them off." Jonathan, a finance worker who commuted into Manhattan, loved the idea of a peaceful escape from the city. Lisa, a stay-at-home mom and interior design blogger, was excited to document her old home makeover. And Madison, she fell in love with the attic bedroom, even though it had only one small window and sloped, creaking walls. They didn't know that someone else had fallen in love with the house too, someone already inside. It began with the kind of things you might laugh off at first. The TV remote was never where they left it. Lisa would place it on the coffee table, only to find it hours later sitting on a stair. Jonathan blamed Madison. Madison denied it. The kitchen light would turn off seconds after Lisa turned it on. At first, she thought it was faulty wiring, until it kept happening at the same time each night. 9:17 p.m. Baxter the dog began barking at the basement door. Not once, not occasionally. Every single night at 2:30 a.m., he would stare, growl, and sometimes even pee himself with fear. Jonathan stayed skeptical. Lisa grew paranoid. But the final straw came one night when Lisa woke up to a faint whisper. A voice, almost like a murmur through a closed vent. "She's awake." She jolted upright and looked around. Nothing. She crept down the hallway, followed the sound to the heating vent, and it went dead silent. Then came the first direct sighting. It was Madison who said it. One morning at breakfast, pale and silent, she suddenly whispered, "There's a man in my room." Lisa dropped her coffee. Jonathan looked up. "What man?" he asked. Madison said, "He crawled out of the wall. He looked at me, then went back. Nothing." They rushed upstairs, searched every corner of the attic bedroom. It ran parallel to the wall, toward the attic crawlspace. But the wall near her bed had a crack, just wide enough to peer into. Behind it, they discovered an old vent tunnel. But it didn't go to the outside. Lisa had had enough. She convinced Jonathan to install motion-triggered security cameras. They set one in the living room, one in the kitchen, and one near Madison's room. The cameras recorded nothing for 4 days. Then, on the 5th night, at 3:14 a.m., the living room camera caught something. A man, thin, dirty, wearing what looked like hospital scrubs, crawled out of the wall vent near the fireplace. He moved like an animal. He stood. He stared directly at the camera, then turned, and slowly crept into the kitchen. No one in the family heard him. Nothing. When police arrived the next morning, they searched the entire property. No one was found. But in the attic, behind an old wood panel, they made a horrifying discovery. A hidden passage inside the walls. Someone had been living there. There was a nest made of blankets, food wrappers, old milk cartons, and a journal. The journal was water damaged, smudged, but legible. It contained hundreds of entries. Here are just a few. She hums in the morning. I like that. They have roast chicken again tonight. Lisa's favorite. I touched the lotion bottle. She will notice. Madison looked at me. I think she saw. Police believe the man had entered the home weeks, maybe months, before they moved in, during renovation. He had constructed a system of tunnels inside the walls, connecting the attic, vents, and even the basement. There were finger holes carved into the drywall, places where he would watch. The police never caught him. He vanished, gone before they arrived, like a shadow melting into the walls. There were no fingerprints, no DNA mattress, only the journal. And one final message scratched into the back of the attic door. You woke me up. I liked it better when you slept. The Campbells moved out immediately. They never returned. To this day, the house on Westbridge Lane sits empty. No one wants to buy it. Neighbors say they still see flickers of light in the attic window. And on quiet nights, some have sworn they hear scratching in the walls. As unbelievable as it sounds, this isn't the only case of a wall dweller. In 2012, a man in Pennsylvania was arrested after living in a family's attic for nearly a year, sneaking out at night to eat and spy. In Japan, a woman was discovered living inside a cupboard for 6 months, completely undetected. These stories aren't supernatural. They're real, and they raise a terrifying question. How well do you really know your home? Could someone be living in your walls right now?